The Wheat School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by Alberta Grains, C&M Seeds, and Syngenta Canada. Find more episodes of The Wheat School by going to wheatschool.com.
Hey, Kara Ustros here with RealAgriculture.com. I am back here today with another Wheat School episode, and it is fitting because I am at Wheatstock here in Vermilion, Alberta, and I have here with me Tom Wolf of AgriMetrix and Sprayers 101. How's it going today?
It's going great, Kara.
So, Tom, I got a very important question for you. Can we spray today?
We can.
It's a little, now I don't know if you guys can see, it is a windy day today. Should we spray today, I guess, is the question here.
It's a great question, and I think it really is worthwhile exploring that question. It's not an absolute no, I would say. Obviously we're going to look at the weather forecast and we're going to see what the wind's going to do in the next couple of hours. It's at late afternoon, so it might diminish a little bit, so that's useful to know. The other thing I like about wind is that it's got some directional certainty. It's blowing towards the southeast here. So if we can look at what is southeast, we can kind of make a proper risk assessment. I'm not saying we should spray today, but at least we can see that. The other thing that wind does for you is it creates a lot of turbulence, and that turbulence might be good for depositing the spray in the canopy. It's also pretty good for preventing downwind damage if it's not a tree. I mean, for a tree, you'll have damage, but if it's a crop, the turbulence actually carries the spray cloud higher rather than lower.
So let's talk about, the exact opposite, a dead calm day. There's concerns there. We're concerned about inversion, and do you want to tell us why?
Yeah, in an inversion, and that's kind of the traditional time to spray, right? We're looking for those calm conditions in the morning. We don't want the wind, and we might wait to spray until sunset tonight, and then the wind will likely die down, and then it'll become like ideal. The problem with that is when the sun goes down, we do get inversions, and inversions happen about 3/4 of summer nights in the Great Plains of North America. It's actually a very frequent thing. If it's clear out, you're probably going to have an inversion that evening or that night. And that means the spray cloud that we generate, and we always generate some kind of a spray cloud, doesn't disperse. It stays concentrated. And so it can move slowly, it can linger, and it can cause much more significant and much more widespread damage than we would have caused on a windy day.
So talk about some of the other considerations when it comes to, obviously we wouldn't actually be spraying on a day this windy. However, talk about some of the things we can do to mitigate if you do have some wind pressure. What are some of the things you can do? Yeah,
that's what I like about the wind. Let's say you're caught out in a field somewhere where you've got to spray because everything's here and the rain's coming and your back's against the wall, but it's a little too breezy. You do have things that you can do. You can lower your boom. You can put on a coarser nozzle or just lower your spray pressure. You can increase water volume to allow you to spray coarser without harming coverage and those kinds of things. You also can warn someone who's downwind because you know where the wind's blowing. You can say, look, I know this is your field. This is what I'm spraying. I don't think it'll harm you, but I just want to let you know, and to be a kind of a good neighbor in that sense, and make that phone call. So there are steps you can take. I always say, you should have a really coarse nozzle on your sprayer anyways for those moments if you don't have it on the boom. And then you switch it out and you might lose some coverage, but you'll get the job done and probably not harm anything.
Water volumes, do they change at all in the wind?
Yeah, higher water volumes are probably a very good idea. Higher water volumes give you the permission to spray coarser and probably not lose any coverage. We're typically spraying 10 gallons an acre on a post-emergent spray. That allows you to get good coverage with a coarse, maybe a very coarse spray quality. If we were to up it to 12 or even 15, we could get away with a very coarse to extremely coarse spray quality, even maybe ultra coarse, and still have acceptable coverage and then probably not have any drift. So it's very valuable. The cool thing we learned today, we did a little demo here at Wheatstock, is we learned about the benefit of turbulence, right? And I arranged these water sensitive papers to shadow each other, so top, and then I fully expected the amount of spray to really be diminished quite dramatically with height. And as you can see, there was some loss, but it wasn't as severe as I felt it would be. And I think the benefit of the turbulence there helped quite a bit.
And obviously turbulence depends on cropping type as well.
It depends on the crop canopy. We might not see this kind of turbulence in a dense pulse crop, for example, or a canola crop for desiccating in the fall. So yeah, this is a relatively open wheat crop at the moment, and so it was maybe a little bit easier to get that wind down there.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Kara.